quote unquote make more money being a number 6 at VaynerMedia than they would have as being a number 1 in whatever hustle or business that they've started for themselves. And so you're saying you've been doing coaching and consulting and things of that nature, and now you want to produce content to give you leverage to be hired as a number 3 or 4?
Yeah, I think so. I feel that way because I've been trying to do it myself, and like I don't like.
You don't enjoy it enough.
Yeah, like I don't get up excited every morning about it. You know what I mean?
I totally get it. And I think, it's one of the things that I'm talking about that I'm most proud of, because I'm trying to create permission and self-awareness to not have to be an entrepreneur in a world where if you're under 40, it almost feels like you have to be, which is crazy. It's almost like entrepreneurship's almost become like school and college. Everyone thinks you have to. Mm-hmm. So a couple of things. The first thing I'd probably do is make a list of the 25 businesses and 25 entrepreneurs you most admire, if you can even make a list that big, because one of the things you can consider is spending a couple weeks just analyzing those businesses. Obviously, if you've been an entrepreneur or doing your own thing, it's likely for you to be a 3 and 4 in probably a company that's probably between 50, 25, maybe to 100 people. You're not going to go be number 3 or 4 at Amazon or Netflix or BMW.
Yeah.
Right. So you probably want to focus on the entrepreneur in the sector that you most enjoy. And then there's 2 things to do. One, you really analyze their business and you start putting out content about Manny's Pizza Shop or VaynerMedia or whatever the company is. You start actually making content, like literally like analyzing their social media and saying, literally on LinkedIn, the title is, 3 things I see the grapefruit shop can fix on social media, literally. So that's one way. The other way is to literally write an email to, Dear Sally Thompson, I've admired your business from afar for a long time. I love video game, tchotchkes, and you do it better than anybody else. Let me just tell you a little bit about myself. If there's anything I can ever do pro bono, please let me know. That's one version. That's asking. The other version is the email that is similar to the blog post. Dear Sally Pants, have always loved your esports trinket business. With Corona, I've had some time on my hands. I spent the last half a week analyzing your social. Below are 7 things that I would highly recommend you pay attention to that can make your social media profile better. No ask, no anything, just like, thank you so much. If there's anything I can ever help you with in the future, please hit me back. Love you, Leon. Those 3 tactics against the human are the things that will work.
Cool. All right.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
I appreciate you, Leon. Get on it. First, figure out who you admire. It's okay to take a month right now and try to consume a ton of entrepreneurs and a ton of small businesses. Where do you live?
In Montreal, in Canada.
Love it. There's a lot of interesting creative stuff going on in Montreal. If you don't want to leave that area, you should really do homework.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, man. Yeah, I'm going to be going in the vegan market.
Love that. That's where your passion is?
Yeah, I'm really interested in that stuff, and I'm putting out more content about food and chefs and vegan chefs and stuff.
There's a ton of vegan startups, direct-to-consumer vegan brands that I'm sure your social media consulting and coaching can help. It's similar to where I told you to audit their page and then DM them or email them.
Awesome.
Take care.
Thanks so much, Gary. You too.
Yeah, of course, Leon. If you are on and sharing, there we go, David. Hendon Sangwell, very good job. Kim Noonley, very good. I'm going to share you, Kim, and give you the follow. Boom, Kim. The big fucking follow for Kim. Nate Gaines, big follow for him. Nate, I am now your 882nd follower. Hello, my man.
Hey. First off, I want to say thank you. You provide a lot of good content, and even though I haven't needed to follow it for like 2 years, I've been consuming it for 2 years, and it's very motivating and all that.
Thank you. What's your name, my friend?
I'm Con.
Con. And where are you from?
Yeah. I was born in Greece, but I've grown up in Australia since I was like 3.
I love it. Nice to meet you, Con.
Thank you. Nice to meet you too. Okay, so is it all right if I give some context first before my question?
It is. Yes,
so I'm a little bit nervous.
Don't worry.
I'll eventually get around my words.
I'm sure. Go ahead.
So pretty much I'm in my second year of university, or like equivalent of college,
Yep.
you guys know.
Yep.
I'm doing sports and exercise science, and my goal is that eventually I want to work in high-performance sport. Recently, I started, about a month ago, I started branding myself a lot more. I started my Instagram, I've got a website now, LinkedIn and all that. And pretty much I want to share who I am and what I'm learning and all that. But what I've been wondering is just how I can provide more valuable, considering that I am a younger, more inexperienced coach. Because I see all of the content that other more experienced people are putting out. It's like I don't know where my place is really, you know?
Your place is in hypotheses and opinions, because what you don't have is experience yet, right? And you don't have the leverage of results from athletes, right? And so you're in a very similar place to where I was when I first walked into the wine library, which was I had ideas. I'm sure you have ideas and hypotheses and opinions. But right now, to your point, you know, where a lot of 22-year-olds, 20-year-olds, 18-year-olds get caught is they think only expertise can bring leverage to business. And what they end up doing is they fake it until they make it. And they start talking about shit that they don't know about. And what I mean by that is it's one thing, Con, if you say, hey, if your video is literally like this, hey, you know, I can't wait to eventually try out this thesis, but something that's been on my mind is if people use ice and heat 3 hours before, or if they, you know, I would share ideas. Most people don't like to share ideas because they think people will steal them. And I don't think people understand that the world is abundant. Plus, if you put it out on the internet first, it's almost like you own it. It can't really necessarily be stolen. Number two, you don't have any other choice, Con. Until you have, you know, clients, until you have 15 years of experience, you don't. And so the thing that you have to do for sure, there's a lot of things that you don't have to do, but the one thing you have to do is be very careful not to make things up or fake it till you make it. I see this every day, 20-year-old life coaches, 20-year-old this, 20-year-old that, and and I understand, I have empathy for them. They're just kind of almost lying, bullshitting, embellishing, tricking, to seem like an authority when they're not. And that will never work in the end. It might work short term. You might get something out of it in the short term, but long term, you always get exposed. So for me, what you need to do is document the journey of becoming who you're going to become. And that's more talking about frustrations, talking about trying out some theories on your friends because real athletes won't let you, talking about ideas you have, doing green screen, you know how I have this green screen right now, this T setup, you know, you do it, you know how you see on TikTok people making content over other people's videos. Maybe you start sharing your opinions on other people's videos. There's a lot of ways you can go about it, but the number one mistake, the common mistake, the thing I see 90% of the time of kids in this position, they start making up shit and they always will get caught on that.
Well, I think what you're saying makes sense, and I think that it would be good just like even going forward, just having a backlog of this is what I've done, this is what I see. Like what you're saying makes sense. I think the other bit that I get caught on is if I should even be bothering trying to share and trying to promote myself so much now,
100%.
whether it's...
You should. I'll tell you why.
Would you? Okay.
Because one day you're going to be 81 and it's going to be so powerful, that video, for your 16-year-old great-grandson.
Yeah. So you think that's worth it still? Because the place I'm coming from is just, I don't know if it's,
It's worth it for you, the human being. Maybe not worth it for you, the sports business side yet.
Yeah.
You know how I'm at my parents' house. Do you know how sad I am? I don't have pictures of me at baseball card shows.
Yeah.
I'm devastated. I wish I had them. I wish I had pictures of me at the lemonade stand. I wish I had a video of me washing cars, shoveling snow. The reason you need to do it is for your great-grandchildren and for yourself one day to look back on, not to convert business. Do you understand?
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
And by the way, what if God willing, you become one of the great players in your field and they have to make a documentary about you? The video will be really good for the documentary.
Yeah.
Plus, take it from me.
That's
one day you're not going to have that much hair, so it'd be nice to have video with that much hair. Yeah, God.
That's it.
Think of it in the macro, not in the micro.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
And by the way, real quick, one last thing.
Yep.
And God willing, by accident, you may make one video that resonates with millions of people. Why not?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, because I think the thing is, I enjoy it. It's just I was having trouble justifying it to myself.
Great, because if you enjoy it, I just gave you very clear black and white justifications. Yeah.
Okay. Can I ask one more quick question?
Please.
Going off of the document over create kind of a thing that you're saying that I should be following, regarding LinkedIn, what I currently do is I only post when I get a longer form post, like a blog post on my blog, and then I share that to LinkedIn also. Do you think that just shorter form, like this is what I've done this week,
try it? Try it.
Okay.
Try it. I'm not sure, but try it.
Okay.
The answer, what's great about the internet and that everybody fucks up is trying it and getting back the feedback after 10 times of doing the short thing. This is what I did this week and it's not working is more valuable than debating it or asking an expert.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay.
I really appreciate it.
Happy to do it.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, let's go back to Twitter before we go. There's Amanda Lambert. Amanda, you get a follow. Amanda, I am your 150th follower. Remy, my good friend Remy's in the building. Sandra Kohler. It's time for Sandra to get a follow. She's such a hardcore community member. Devin Alexander is always in the mix. I love that. Hi, Leslie.
Hi, Gary.
How are you?
Good. I'm following you for a long time, so this is really exciting to talk to you.
Thank you. Where are you from?
I'm from Florida, so
awesome.
Gainesville, Florida.
Awesome.
So my question to you is, just a little background. I'm a branding and web designer. Most of my clients they're kind of all over the world. Most of them are creatives, probably 70% photographers, the rest creatives, artists, things like that. I've been doing this for coming on 12 years. So I feel like my business is in a good place. So you started
when you were 6?
I'm actually 36 years old. I look 12.
So, that's good.
Yeah, it'll help when I'm 50. So,
exactly.
I have 12 years experience. I feel like I have a lot of value to offer. But I love what I do so much that I'm hearing all these voices of like, oh, you should do a course or to offer value. And I know there's a lot I can offer, but I just love what I do and I don't want to do anything else. So I feel
good news. You've won.
Yeah. But I feel like, am I doing a disjustice to other designers that I can teach things? Like, I just don't feel like I don't think
that that's really necessarily where your energy's coming from. It's probably coming from your logical entrepreneurial brain and other voices that you're leaving money on the table, not that you're not helping. If that's the case, you wouldn't sell course. Like, for example, my great, what's pulling at my heartstrings is to be the most helpful entrepreneur to other entrepreneurs in the history of entrepreneurship, which is why I don't have masterminds and courses. It's why I put out everything for free.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? So I think, to your point, and I can feel the energy, you know that there's some business opportunity there. It's more, quote unquote, scalable. But you just don't give a shit. And good news, Leslie, you're just like me. I fucking make so much more money than I make. I just don't want to. I want to be happy, not have more money.
Yeah. I mean, I'm enjoying that I am making a little more money now because it's taken 12 years to get here.
That's right.
But I just want to, I don't need to make $1 million.
That's right.
I'm good. We just bought the house we've always wanted. We're in a good place. I do want to travel more, so I need more for my travel jar. But
what you might be able to do then is, why don't you put out free Zooms and free live streams, which will build up your personal brand. It's all free, which will probably lead to invites to give some speeches. I've been able to travel the world and not pay a dime. So you might be able to get, places to, at first my offers were, we'll pay for your travel, back in 2009 when I started speaking. Yeah. I think that would be a home run for you. If somebody reaches out to you from Australia and is like, we'll pay for your travel, can you come and speak? You would like hang up and dance all over the building.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally would.
So I think there's a way for you to do that as well, which is to start putting out more free content. And when I say content, one of the things I need to talk about more is put out more free access. What I'm doing right now is the most valuable, right? The most valuable. I mean, people buy $50,000, $60,000, $80,000 1 hour lunches with me through charity things that I do. This one-on-one time is something people want, and I'm doing it right now for free, right. And so you can do that as well. Create access to you, Facebook Lives, Instagram Lives, Zooms, and then I think that will lead to demand for you to speak, and that will scratch your travel. The answer is don't listen to your husband. Don't listen to your best friend. Don't listen to some of the experts that you follow on Instagram. You do not have to start a course because it's more scalable, make more money. You have to follow what makes you happiest. And you are clearly in tune with that. And so I'm proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. I do love what I do. And I'm always preaching it to other people. If you hate your job, just quit.
You just have to try. You have to try. Yeah. And most people are fear-based. So they're like, how am I going to pay the rent and this and that? And I keep reminding people, quit your job in parallel with quitting your lifestyle. Actually sell your home and your car and your fancy handbags and sneakers and go rent an apartment and then quit. Happiness over everything. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. I think my friends are sick of me telling them.
Access. Do some streams. Okay. You're going to stumble on somebody who's throwing a conference who's going to pay for you to travel. And then you'll figure out if you're good at speaking in front of groups. Yeah. And if you are, you'll travel the whole world.
Awesome. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Gary.
You're welcome, Les.
Bye.
All right, back to Twitter. If you are not sharing screenshots of this on your Twitter, you're making a huge mistake because you are missing out on some epic following, which I think you should not do that. Crystal, big shout out to you. I am your 55th follower. Look at this crew. I mean, dressed up, looking sharp. Kilby, how are you?
Doing well, Gary. How are you?
Good. And what's your name?
I'm Marisette Brown.
I'm Kilby Brown.
And we are the Property Hats New York City team.
Real estate agents from New York, Gary. How are you?
Very nice. I'm really
from Brazil.
Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Really excited. Thanks for having us today.
Sure.
So we live in New Jersey. We do real estate in Manhattan. Been following you for a few years. Honestly, I think a few months ago you told us to stop following you and just do it. I think that was your message for a while. So I did stop following you, but I'm back in. And I guess my question is, we've been doing this about 3 years. I left a W-2 paying job, making six figures. I haven't quite made it where I needed to be yet on real estate. Now we're shut out. We can't meet clients, can't do open houses, can't cold call, can't do anything. So I need a reset. And I'm going to use this time, amongst many things, to do a reset in my business. So what are your ideas as a real estate, for real estate agents? Our marketing is to hats. We do hats on beds, hats in our videos. That's our thing.
Hats all over.
Hats all over Manhattan.
I love it.
I'm active on LinkedIn. I have Instagram. I started TikTok. I have Facebook, all sorts of stuff. So what are your thoughts now?
Let me throw some random things at you. Number one, have you considered starting a Facebook group for tri-state? I would call it the tri-state real estate group, where real estate agents, real estate brokers, just a community. One of the biggest things I believe in is throw the party.
I have two groups right now.
Tell me about that.
Manhattan groups. I can change the tri-state. Mm-hmm.
It's less about that. How active are you in there, and who are you letting in there?
One we just started like 2 weeks ago. That was really just potential clients. The second one we took over from a guy who's helping us. That's open to agents. That's open to everyone, I believe.
I think intent really matters, Kilby. So what I'm trying to do is get you to be the Pied Piper, the Gatsby, the person that throws the party. Mm-hmm. And even if people in there are doing more real estate transactions, and there may be times where you look at each other and say, why do we listen to Gary? There's these other real estate agents that are part of these groups that are also taking the business from the people that are in this group that have potential clients. I still believe that in the macro, being the person that has the number one tri-state real estate group as the host or hostess will turn out to be ROI beneficial in a 2-3 year period. What that requires is the intent of you when you have that group is for you to actually be a host, not you threw them all there just to sell them a property. And it's a very different mentality. It leads to very different words and very different thoughts coming out of your mouth. So one of the things that I think most, my sister's a real estate agent in New Jersey, so I've gotten closer to it. One of the biggest mistakes that I think real estate agents make is they don't market, they don't bring value, they are salespeople, right? And so to me, every time since I spoke at the first Inman Connect in like 2010, my first Inman Connect in 2010 or 11, I kept saying, be the mayor of your town, be the newspaper of your town. What I would do if I were you right now is I would think about all the businesses that are struggling in Manhattan as well. I would probably reach out on Twitter and Instagram and DM and on LinkedIn and DM restaurant and other owners in Manhattan and interview them how they're getting through the storm, and then post these interviews on Facebook. Because in Manhattan, what may happen is you may interview the one chef who cries during the interview, who's a famous New York chef. That's the interview that gets picked up by ABC News. It's the interview that gets 1 million views on Facebook. Even with your incredibly intriguing, quirky style, you'll be memorable. I think it's about content. It's about content. I've been consistent about this, Kilby, as you know, but the reality is it's the intent behind the content. I want you to be thinking that you're CNN, that you're the New York Post, that you're Bloomberg. You need to be thinking about how do I bring value to this restaurant owner? And even though, and the reality is a lot of people are sitting home and willing to do interviews right now. You'll be able to make some friendships, but you have to convert. And I believe every real estate agent she and he will achieve their best when they convert into being a news organization, not a salesman. I really believe that. And so I believe I believe that people need to interview their principals, their superintendents, their the owners of the businesses that have been there a long time. I think this advice works even better for people in smaller towns than Manhattan, But I still know it works in Manhattan. And on the flip side, there's no small town interview that's going to get national coverage. But if you get the right chef or the right barber with the right thing and your tiny little audience on Facebook and you post it and it starts with 13 views, the way Facebook and YouTube work is you can wake up and it has 1 million views. I think you should quadruple down on interviews and stories. I think, I've said it a bunch the last couple of days. I'm sure maybe you've picked up on this. I think the two of you need to tell the story of if you made 5 different videos on why you quit a 6-figure job, W-2, and when I hear hasn't gotten there yet, there's a lot of power in your stories, Kilby. You can help a lot of people and you can get people emotionally attached to your story. I think you need to go into story time and newscaster time. That's what I would do. And
it doesn't matter whether all platforms, you just matter
all platforms.
All platforms.
Post them everywhere, right? I'm doing this with Tea with Gary Vee. The videos are about to, this little clip will show up on Instagram, will show up on LinkedIn, it'll show up on Facebook, it'll show up on Twitter. All produce the video and then distribute it in all different platforms. And the only difference is you might title it a little different. You might add some words that are a little different. Obviously, a LinkedIn crowd is a little different than a TikTok crowd. You might write copy that associates the video a little bit different, but distribute everywhere. You never want to not give yourself a chance to be discovered.
Okay. One question, aside the hats, we also like to dance. So I also teach Brazilian dance. We dance swing. So we also use dance. Huh?
TikTok's a huge opportunity for you.
Okay, so just make video dancing, make videos.
If you two did the trending dance every day on TikTok, I guarantee somewhere in the next year, one of those will go viral, and that may lead to somebody who lives in Brooklyn, in Bushwick, clicking on your profile, seeing that you do real estate, and then emailing you because they're moving into the city. That's how it actually works. That is how it works.
So keep the hats, keep the dance, keep the energy.
Of course, keep the hats and dance because you guys like that.
Exactly.
What are we doing here, right? You know, obviously we want to reach our financial goals for our stability and things of that nature. But at the end of the day, how you make your money is more important than how much you make. And the hats and the dancing is part of your two souls.
Exactly. Thank you. Great
More,
job.
more content. What were you going to say, Kilby?
I would say great. Thank you very much. Great job yesterday also with your father. Really nice.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
I wanted to drink wine in the middle of the afternoon, too. I waited a little bit, but it was really great. Really great to see you and your father.
Kilby, you better sign up for Wine Text. My dad needs it. It's a great service if you buy wine. It's crazy good.
Okay, I will.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you
so much. Bye.
It's a good feed for everybody. If you buy wine on the internet, winetext.com. Today we are selling a $52 Pinot Noir for half price. It's just ridiculous. Great plant trainers. Thank you so much. Celestina, Blended Collective, CBS Group. Yogi.
Gary, thank you so much for having me on, man. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Love your show and sending me good vibes. So thank you so much for this.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Little overview about me. I started an Instagram back in 2016 to make fun of yoga. I didn't have a yoga practice, just to make fun of yoga, and yoga ended up changing my life. And now I have like a yoga brand. I teach yoga, and I post everywhere, like Facebook, TikTok, you know, just everywhere because of you. So I appreciate everything you said, everything you do. My friend Pedro told me to listen to you, and you literally changed my life. I got out of $30,000 of debt because I sold my house and I moved in with my in-laws for 4 or 5 months. So that 4 or 5 months was tough, but it set my whole future up so much better with my side hustle business and everything like that. So thank you so much for that.
So Brian, you literally heard me talk about that theory. It sat in your head, and you decided to do it.
I did, yeah. It sat in my head, and I was really playing with the fears of
judgment.
The judgment. I'm 38 years old, and I just got married too last year. So it's the judgment.
Brian, I'm so proud of you.
Oh, thank you so much.
You know how much
I appreciate you.
You know how much courage it takes to do that move, but I'm so more proud of you because right now people can sense your happiness with it, and many people have to sell their home and move in with their in-laws. And with their friends. They don't realize it's a huge coup. It's a huge coup if you can't afford your lifestyle to reset. A little humility. And by the way, I have no idea how much you like or don't like your in-laws, but one of the things that people don't realize, and I've gotten some of these emails, going back in with their parents or their best friend or their in-laws or one guy went in with their high school coach. Also, those 3, 4, 5, 6 months have been a lot of fun for a lot of people because they got closer to people that they like.
Yeah, it was a great time, and in-laws are awesome. They had a pool, so it was during the summer. We got to swim a lot, so yeah, it was like a little vacation. How did your in-laws think about it? Were they practical and hey, Brian, that's really did they view it did they also see it as wow, good on you that you had the courage to do it? Yeah.
Did they judge?
Yeah, super supportive. They didn't judge. They enjoyed us being there. So we had a good time. And then it was just time. We live in an apartment now, so it gives us money. And now we're waiting to possibly buy a house when this whole thing goes over. And it's just such a big relief off my shoulder. And I was just able to focus, more on just my brand and what I want to do. Because I work at a bank on my day job, and I'm literally go every minute outside my day job, even if I'm walking down the hall, whatever, I'm on my phone trying to respond back to people. And that was my question that I had today is, I'm making all this content. I love to make people laugh, especially in the yoga community. That's my passion. I love to be an entertainer. I love to make people laugh, especially right now. I feel like as a creator, I have a responsibility to make people laugh and just kind of get them out of this rut. But especially since I've been home and I make content, I try to respond back to everyone's DMs and just build that community. How do you have any advice on managing just being on my phone so much? Like, do you, like, for example, do you like batch your text, or do you only go on Instagram at certain times of the day? Like, how do you balance? Because I feel like I'm at a almost crossing the line to cell phone addiction too, just because I have a wife, I have a son.
I don't think you have cell phone addiction. I think you have addiction to your passion.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
You know, the cell phone just happens to. Morning,
I love you so much.
I love you the most. Say hello. Say
hello.
Morning.
Sasha, what's up? I signed up for Wine Text for my wife. She loves wine.
Brian just said he signed up for Wine Text. He's in my. I've got headphones.
Thank you, Brian.
You're welcome.
Brian, you don't have addiction to your phone. You have addiction to what's on the other side. The phone is an empty pipe. And if you're feeling guilt that you want to spend a little more time with the fam, then that's on you. That's not the phone. It's not the phone. It's what's on the other side of the phone. People have it so confused. Everyone's like, you're addicted to your phone. No, you're not. You're addicted to your friends that you talk to all the time. You're addicted to the phone. No, you're not. You're addicted to watching funny videos. You're always on your phone. No, you're not. You're addicted to, your business. So I think you're addicted to the right thing. Your passion on the side hustle. Don't demonize yourself because you're on the phone, because you know what? That's another judgment for society. Society judges people to sell their home and go and live with their in-laws. You have just felt the benefits of that. Society judges people on their phone, but they don't realize what's happening on the other phone. You're making people happy on the other side.
Yes, that's true.
I'm proud of you. I don't look down on you. I look up at you for that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And thank you for getting me on TikTok. I love TikTok, and I love consuming the content, and like it really blows up pretty fast on there. My whole brand transformed. Now I'm doing cussing yoga videos, and it just totally transformed. So I appreciate that. And
Brian,
I overthought it though. I overthought TikTok. I started in July and I kept deleting videos. I'm like, this is not going to do good. I kept deleting videos.
Doesn't matter. Not doing good it's time that everybody realizes that I get more enjoyment from my content that doesn't do well than the reverse. Not doing well is not bad. Not doing well is a gift. It shows you, it gives you data on something. It lets you know that something might not be working, especially after you do the same thing 50 times. After one time, you can't just think it's not doing well. And you have to have the confidence to let somebody come on your page and see that you only had 37 views.
Yeah. Yes, 100%.
Have you started a Facebook group?
We have. We actually do. Me and my friend Pedro, who turned me on to you. We have a podcast, the Yogi Show podcast. We have a Facebook group there. We're all in Facebook, all in everywhere. I do what you tell me, so I appreciate that. And it took me a year for me to hear someone say that. Do what Gary does, and you're gonna blow up. So I appreciate you so much. Thank you for having me on here.
Have a great day.
Love you, man.
Proud of you. Listen, that had a huge piece of content in it, which is the bottom line is, I'm telling you, if you don't understand the step back on selling your home, if you can't afford it, it is one of the great moves in our society, and I hope more people do it. Proud of Brian. Did you just see the happiness and the confidence in his eyes? Unbelievable. Jen, how are you?
Hi, guys. Nice to see you. So my name's Jennifer Dalton. I live in East Meadow, New York. I just want to start off by saying thank you for this once-in-a-life opportunity. I loved your video yesterday with your dad. I was laughing. It was amazing. And it reminded me a lot of my relationship with my father and how, I've been in the kitchen with him since I'm 4 years old, breaking up the ends of string beans and just building that work ethic that is so valuable. So I love your Tea with Gary Vee show. This past year, I had a pretty challenging year where a lot of the stuff that people were saying resonated with me. I mean, I had to move out of my home. I traded in my fancy BMW, moved back with my parents. I haven't paid my bills in about a year due to some hardships. And before quarantine, I was working 3 part-time jobs. And what I learned is that I love connecting with people. I love people. I love the different groups of people. And my dream is to open up a coffee shop where I could build that community. and have like speakers come in and have events and have an experience, teach cooking, you know, like.
And Jennifer, on that front, also debate if you want it to be a coffee shop, because that's a very kind of like competitive sector. And I see a lot of people who want to connect with people and have a hub default into coffee shop. Just after this call, play with the idea of, should it be an arcade? Should it be a hand curated bookstore? Should it be a juice store? Should it be tea? Should it be orange juice? Maybe it's string bean, maybe it's a soup store. Like, I love the idea. Don't just default into coffee shop. A lot of people are doing that. Now, coffee might be the right one for you, but I love the idea for people that love connecting with people, that are extroverted and want a clubhouse and build a business around it. I just want to make sure. I actually think some people out there like you actually have a better idea in them, but they don't think that, like, for example, they don't think they can open a grapefruit store, right? Where you sell grapefruits, where you sell grapefruit juice. But meanwhile, it was their grandma and theirs favorite drink. And with that passion, they'll stand out more and do even better selling grapefruit T-shirts, like, than they would have in a coffee shop, because they don't realize, yes, there might be 10 times more people that want coffee than grapefruit, but there's 12 coffee shops to divide that demand. Whereas with grapefruit, there isn't a single grapefruit store around. So just also keep in mind that there might be something unique for you to do as well. Just something to keep in mind. Keep going.
Beautiful. Yeah, I was thinking, like, especially with everyone being home and maybe some jobs like getting used to being at home, people are going to want a place to come and do their work, and maybe rent out like rooms where people could, you know, do that.
Clubhouses will always work.
Yeah, like that third place environment.
That's right.
So, like, I also love what you do, and I feel like I've been through quite a bit in my life to where I could connect with people on a very deep level. And I was wondering, if you were me, like, what would you do to explore that focus, like, energy and that focus?
Meaning you want to build a community and talk with people?
Yeah.
You know, I would do what I did. You know, in 2006, I started doing it with wine. And then in 2009, I started doing it with business. It's literally as simple as making videos and putting them out on the internet. Back then, that was Vidler, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, MySpace, right? Today, it's a slew of things, from TikTok to LinkedIn to other places. But what's really crazy, Jennifer, is it's very obvious what it is. It is content. It's a podcast. It's a YouTube show. It's one-off videos. It's starting with 6 people that are your friends, and, you know, and then it builds from there. It's really as simple as that. There is nothing too crazy to the strategy. The crazy part to the strategy is the ability to execute.
So I've been hosting wellness events like every month, and I rent out a storefront, and then I have like 10 to 12 people come in.
That's
and
awesome.
Just try out different things. No.
Good. So next one you do, have a friend film it. Literally, everyone's like, but then what? This. Literally, and on the iPhone if they have to. You should absolutely film it, because that's content. Maybe you getting somebody to try something, or you saying something to somebody that's there, is the video that starts your career.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jennifer. Have a great day.
Have a great day. Ciao.
My friends, everybody, just like with Jennifer right now, it is documenting. Like, do not do anything that's public without it being filmed, and then chop it up and post-produce it and put it out in the world. Simple as that. Simple as that. Going back to Twitter. Celeste is in the building. Teresa. How are you, my friend? Can't hear you. Can't hear you. Hello, hello, hello? Dustin, can't hear this dude.
Hear me now? Can you hear me?
We can, Pentelis. How are you?
I'm good. Nice having me in the live. Thank you very much. It's an honor.
You're welcome. Where are you from?
I am from Greece.
Very nice. Nice to see you.
Thank you very much. I have 2 questions for you. So I will give you a bit of context for both of them. The first one is I am in the university right now. I'm studying computer engineering, and I had a really rough start with my university. But after a personal journey, I found my base and I have a plan and I execute it to graduate. My question is this. I am 26 years old right now, and I really feel I stayed behind in that department, and I would like some advice on how to boost my resume and convince others that I have a lot to offer and I am very passionate about learning and work.
I think the answer is less about boosting your resume, and it's more about asking more people. So I see a lot of people who feel insecure about their resumes, whether they're behind, they didn't go to the best school, and I always laugh because I always say to them, you don't understand. It's not about having the best resume. It's about asking the most people for a job. So to me, you have more than a good enough resume for 1 to 500 businesses in the world right now. Right now. It's just that you have to submit your resume and you have to reach out to them and apply. So many people are in their head worrying and dwelling that they're behind. Instead, they should be on LinkedIn and reaching out to CEOs and CMOs and CIOs and CTOs in your situation and sending in the resume and saying, I have the most passion, read this resume. All you need is one person to say yes.
So it's about quantity with a good, yes, okay.
My second question. Hold on one second. I'm gonna finish that because a lot of people are watching because I could see that you got it. It is quantity with upfront context in the first 2 or 3 sentences to get them to get excited, and then you're on your way.
Context not in the resume, in like a motivation letter or something like that. Cover letter.
It's if you know you're sending if you know you're sending your resume to a video game maker, you make a reference to loving, Zelda when you were a kid. Just something to give it a little boost.
I see.
If you're applying to a company in Poland, you make a reference in the opening email about somebody that you grew up with in Greece who was from Poland, if that's true. You give a little flavor to it.
I see. Perfect. Thank you very much. My second question is this. I have this entrepreneurship itch with my twin brother, and we are trying to start some side hustling beside our main jobs because it's not enough. And our goal is to have financial freedom, and I feel like in Europe it's very different than in America. For example, my brother has started writing, and he's really trying to go that way and have clients and create a career out of it. And I was thinking about flipping and side hustles doing in Europe, but I understand it's very difficult from America. It's not so easy.
That's right. It's not as easy. It's not there. The websites aren't the same. It's different.
And there are regulations that are different. And I was asking if you have any advice on either going for flipping, and if yes, what to study about it because I'm ready to do it, or some other European-related stuff.
Flipping is definitely harder in Europe than it is in the U.S. because the websites, the culture, there's a lot of differences. I do see some people in Europe doing very well in flipping by starting an Instagram account and posting their items on Instagram, and then people reply, and then they meet up and they change it. Or they ship it. So I've seen some Europeans get some traction on flipping by posting the items on Instagram, and literally starting an account that says selling from Greece and just taking a photo and saying $80 for this hat and $4 for this mug. And so I've seen some success like that. But let's go back to the most important part. It's very important to me, and we talked about it 2 callers ago with Brian. When I heard you say financial freedom, Panateos, just remember one thing. Financial freedom comes in a lot of forms. It comes in how much you make, but more importantly, it comes in how much you spend.
Of course, lifestyle is always relative with the money you make.
It is. And I think this generation, everybody 15 to 35 needs a good reminder that you don't have to buy the most expensive home you can afford, the most expensive car you can afford. Like, we need to live a little more humbly because it's going to lead to a lot more breathing room to live with financial freedom.
Yes, I don't really think I have this kind of problem, if you say. I really feel the freedom I'm talking about is about doing stuff and having experiences that money won't be the problem.
I love that. I respect that. So listen, I think the flipping can be done on Instagram, and I think that there's a lot of other things you can consider. I think when you have the ability to be a developer like you are, you might be able to develop some stuff on the side that, that people pay $5 a piece for a download. Like, there's a lot of clever stuff developers can do, a little hack that helps people make their content better that they pay $2 a month for. Subscription, low cost subscription technology, I think, is a very interesting business. Maybe you start something that is like a software that helps people make better TikTok videos and it costs $3 a month. All of a sudden that could be an interesting business. So I would maybe a side hustle that leans into your natural strength of development.
So this goes more for a macro kind of stuff, because you have to gain the experience and create more quantity.
That's right.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It was an honor. Thank you very much.
All right, Dustin, let's keep this going. Oh, Ryan, what's good?
Hey, Gary, thank you so much for having me.
I'm happy to have you, bro. Where are you from?
I'm from Chicago. I actually had a quick tip for Pantelis because I'm a software engineer.
Please.
So if the company that you're applying for has a public product or API, take a small part of that product and build it and bring it to the interview.
Agreed.
I've used that a couple of times and it's really good.
Making and doing over talking always works, and that's what you're talking about, Ryan. So I appreciate that.
So my question is, so last week I had the idea of selling printed images on toilet paper, and I contacted a guy who is willing to drop ship them for me, and I started a Shopify store, Facebook, Instagram page, and that's as far as I've gotten. I've sold 2 toilet papers, one to my mom and one to my best friend. So
Good start.
I'm curious if you have any advice for what can I do. I was thinking that Facebook ads or Instagram ads might be a way to try and kick it off, but do you have any advice for what I can do to get out there?
I really like Instagram story ads. They're underpriced. They have a functionality when you're like, literally, here's what I would do. I'll just do the whole thing for you. What's up, Instagram? It's Ryan. I'm about to tell you something crazy. I've started a toilet paper that we've printed things on. If you want to swipe up to find out more, I know it's crazy, and I know right now toilet paper is kind of like a thing in our culture, but I'm telling you, check it out, swipe up. Now, that ad on Instagram stories is going to cost you so little, and if you target 25 to 29-year-olds, you could also do like, what's up, Chicago? It's Ryan. I live here too. I'm an entrepreneur that's had an idea last week. This toilet paper has print on it. I know it's crazy. I know there's a shortage of toilet paper, but there's really not. So don't be mad at me. Swipe up if you want to check it out. That ad, why that ad's interesting is now you targeted on the back end Chicago. You are from Chicago. You created a connection point. Notice how I went right to it in the first 3 seconds. Every Instagram story ad, you have to win in the first 3 seconds or you're dead. You know how fast we go through Instagram stories, right? So you holding up the visual of so you're going to need a role sent to you because obviously you have somebody drop shipping. You holding that up and quickly saying, what's up, guys? I'm Ryan from Chicago. Like literally. Or I'd probably go this route. Chicago, stand up. It's me, Ryan. You're really trying to stop people. But Instagram story ads are super underpriced. The swipe up functionality sends to your Shopify, right? And you could be so targeted with it. And then what you'll learn, if Chicago works, is you're going to start. Did you go to college?
For 2 years.
Where?
Or drop out. DePaul University.
Even better. So you can target by DePaul. You can be like, DePaul, I went to DePaul. Like you start like really going segmented. You can start, and then you can, by the way, you don't have to be from Chicago to say, hey, Chicago. You can literally be like, New York, what's good, So I think Instagram story ads, swipe up to your Shopify are going, and I want you to be in it and like literally just do that ad. It will work.
Awesome. I'll do it.
To me, that is the number one conversion Shopify tactic sitting there. If you hit the creative, I always want people, no matter how extroverted or introverted they are, to star in the ad because people stop when they see people.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna make people laugh. Like if you like, I don't know if we can target by humor or humor interest. I don't know if that's still in play, but like it's just like I definitely feel like a psychological graph of like people that find things funny would probably resonate with the print. You know, like I mean, there's something clearly there.
So the first one I did was a Donald Trump toilet paper. So it's just a bunch of his face.
I would target Democrats because you wouldn't do as well with Republicans, you know, and that's how you do it, right? And then you know, then you do the Biden one for the other side, and then you do red. Like there's just like there's a lot to do there. So I think that there's a lot of you'll clearly get a lot of reaction if you run that piece of creative in New York and California where people skew more liberal than conservative. Like that's gonna if you can target by California, New York. Target by humor interests, you're gonna get some Instagram. I'm telling you right now that I hear how polarizing the content is, I would definitely do Instagram story swipe ups today.
Okay, I have another one that is like COVID-19 health tips, so you can gift someone a toilet paper roll with tips on how to keep themselves safe.
I think you understand the creative that will get people to react and buy. I think to your point, you need the marketing strategy to build awareness. I'm getting more confident on the Instagram swipe up ads as you add context.
Do I need content on the actual pages of the Facebook, Instagram? Do I need to be posting that
yes,
consistently
but you don't,
too?
Yes, because you've got to. I mean, look, you should probably post that Donald Trump and COVID post in your feed and tag a bunch of celebrities. Inevitably, somebody's going to respond to that. You know, like I would I don't know what the max tagging is on Instagram. I'm trying to remember if it's 10 or 20 people or 30, whatever. But I'd probably post the same post over and over, just tagging 10 liberal celebrities, which the majority are. Like literally I'd probably post the same exact post 3 times a day with 10 to 20 more people tagged. You know this. All you need is one of them to like repost it, and you're off to the fucking races.
Sweet. Thanks for the advice.
Wish you well. Talk to you soon. Thanks. All right, going back to Twitter. First hour getting on the boards here. Dustin, give me 1 second. Just want to talk for a second. First hour getting here on the boards. A lot of good advice as well. This morning, really enjoying it. Really enjoying my mornings with you guys. You know, I'm probably going to be sad when I have to go back to my real life and can't do tea with Gary Vee anymore. But I'm really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying the moments with you. I really appreciate everybody who's sharing on Twitter. And I'm just grateful, and I hope the advice is helping. I really want to go back to Brian one more time. I hope you saw the joy in that man's face. He had the courage to move back in with his in-laws. A lot of you can move in with your grandparents, your uncle, your mom, your dad, a best friend if they're willing to. If we just had more humility in the world and people were willing to take a step back to go 2 steps forward. He had a home. He just got married, but he was $30,000 in debt. And by selling the home and moving in with his in-laws for 4 to 6 months and then moving into an apartment, his world is so much happier. And who gives a shit if everybody makes fun of you that you sold your house or thinks you're a loser? Like, fuck them. Like, their life has nothing to do with yours and vice versa. So that was just a real powerful one. I've been talking a lot about that concept, trading in your car, like just that stuff. I'm very passionate about that. And that's it. So anyway, going back to some of these tea posts real quick, and I'll be ready in a second. Dustin, Andrew Humphrey, thank you for sharing. Matt Wilmer, thank you for sharing. Matt, I'm actually going to give you a follower. Matt, I'm your 1630th follower. All right, Dustin, I'm ready. Christian, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm very well. Where are you from?
I'm from Kingston, Jamaica. This is awesome to be talking to you.
It's awesome to be talking to you, my friend. What a beautiful country.
Oh, yes, it is. And we are under the same quarantine lockdown as most places in the world. So
Are there a lot of cases in Jamaica?
We're up to 36 this morning. So our government's done a really good job so far of doing containment and quarantining.
Very nice.
So I have two questions, one kind of general, one more specific, but let me give a little context. I work for a startup insurance company here in Kingston called Iron Rock. And we launched 4 years ago, listed on the local stock exchange to raise capital, have a very small team, only 14 people. In comparison, the next largest guy has 80-odd, 90-odd employees. So we're really, really small, and we use technology to scale. We've gone from greenfield, $0 of revenue on day one, to just about $5 million a year in gross revenue. So we're not doing bad after 4 years. My role here is
what's the net revenue on that number? Do you know?
Yeah, the net revenue is about well, I can do it in J dollars. I haven't converted it to US dollars. Yeah. So my role here is I'm the general manager in charge of production, sales, including marketing. And my kind of objective is to make Iron Rock the cool tech insurance company. We're small. Typically everybody hates insurance. Insurance is not a real sexy field. It's kind of stodgy stuff, very old school. And so we want to create content that positions us as different, as young, as hip, as the cool tech insurance company. Because we're so small, we outsource all of our social creation to another small company. It's not done in-house because the team is really small. We're on Facebook and IG. And I just finished reading your book, by the way, Jab, 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 Right Hook. And it was awesome. Thank you very much. But what it showed me was that the bulk of our content has been right hooks on Iron Rock's page. And so I'm kind of making a switch now to go and focus more on jabs. And I am the persona, I'm the voice of the company in the social space. And so I've created my own personal page, Christian Watt JA. And I'm struggling with what to post. So I want to explain our thing at Iron Rock is to simplify insurance. It's a technical thing. People don't like it. People think we always rip you off. So my goal is I want to simplify it, explain the coverage, explain how it really works. And when I've done a few of those videos on Iron Rock's page, the engagement is 10, 15, 20 times higher than any of the right hook posts. So anything, yeah. So
anything valuable, people like. Anything that's asking them for their money, people don't like. It's not complicated.
Exactly. So, but I'm trying to, should I post them? So one quick question, should I post them as Iron Rock JA's page or as me, the general manager? Both. So post as me and then put it to the page as well. So trying to create it, it's a bit stuffy, it's a bit boring sometimes. What kind of angle, this is my first general question, would be good to create engagement?
It's about creativity. So for example, I would probably go to a jerk chicken stand and literally film it from there. And maybe even ask the person that's serving you, hey, like while you're doing your video, you're like, oh, by the way, do you have insurance? And of course, something funny is going to happen. They're going to say, I don't fucking, it's just making it more interesting, right?
So don't do them sitting from my desk in my office.
Correct. Do not. Okay. I think when people think about how Facebook and Instagram work, if already behind you is a sunny jerk chicken stand, that's already more interesting. That's already more culturally relevant. Think about the other 500 things that matter to Jamaicans, whether it's landmarks or silly. So I think a lot of times the setting is very powerful.
Okay. And my second question was something more specific. So I had an idea for a particular, theme or